All right. Well, that's time for my segment, which I will also bring Spencer
Woo!
in on.
Woo!
As we two dudes play the dudeliest game of all time, probably. The game of dudes. The games of dudes in Gears of War for the Xbox 360. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The original Xbox 360 campaign via co-op took us 2 nights, and we uh, we shot some grubs.
God, what a badass game. Really
Spencer,
is.
tell them what's Gears of War.
Gears of War is a bro game for bros. It it was at the start of, I think, like the 360 kind of being the dominant force for a while. It was headed. It was like the first Rockstar game developer, Cliffy B, Cliff Blazinski. He was cool because he said "fuck" in interviews, and everyone was like, "This guy's legit." Um, which at the time was unheard of. Uh, but he made this game that was based off of like military cover, which we everybody was kind of expecting to go the first person shooter route, and it general that's where it was the whole console was going. But this game was actually a third person shooter, third person cover based shooter, which to my knowledge hadn't, especially in this fashion, hadn't been done before. I'm sure there've been games that have something similar, but never to this like high quality and this very cinematic standard. A lot of over the shoulder action with the camera being shaky behind you when you're running. It was very cinematic. It had a lot of cool touches that they still use today. Like when something interesting is happening on screen, you can hold the Y button and then the character will just look at it. So you don't necessarily have as many cutscenes, but you have things that would be a cutscene that you can, bring into the actual experience with you. Really, really cool. Ahead of its time thinking. And as a shooter, it's actually also pretty advanced. We saw some really cool moments where they were playing with the idea of cover and how you can use that to make for a really interesting game. So it's also got like really big fucking dudes. These guys are huge.
Yeah, they are definitely the highlight. Is the dudes? They're beefcakes, nothing but dudes. There is a girl at one point, but otherwise you got dudes all around you. Even the locusts are like big burly alien dudes.
Yeah.
And these guys are equipped with freaking chain guns that turn into chainsaws. That's like the primary weapon of this thing. There's also all these other cool, unique things. I think that's the big selling point is that it wasn't like every other shooter of the time. When we got picked up the Hammer of Dawn again, it was like, dude, oh, I remember this, back in the day. And I mean, it's not like the most functional weapon, but it's still super cool. A lot of other weapons are pretty useful. The pistol's cool. I mean, the shotgun is classic, and then the active reload was huge because
Yes.
if you every reload is basically an engaging moment because there's like a sliver on the reload thing that you can choose to aim for, and if you hit it, it increases the power of your weapons. If you miss it, it slows down your reload time. If you let it run, it's just a normal ammo reload. And so that could be huge in taking down enemies close range with a nice shotgun blast, with the sniper rifle. At one point, I was picking off guys with the sniper rifle left and right, and I didn't even have to get the headshots just because I kept getting active reloads. And I can't think of many other games that are like that.
Yeah. I mean, also like graphically, it's really pretty. This was one of those early. This is Unreal Engine, right? If I remember, I think.
I don't know. I'll fact check it for you.
Fact check that. But the lighting in it is incredible. Like it still looks pretty good. We didn't play the remaster. I think we'd both be curious to at least see it, not necessarily play it again, but just kind of see it from a remaster perspective, see what they would fix because it's pretty striking. Like even now, it looks pretty good. I remember back in the day, this game was beautiful. People raved about the graphics, and you could see why. It held up quite well. The cinematic nature of it is like hearing like the shit rev, like the chainsaw. The sound is freaking on point. It's it does a lot of things right. Not a lot to complain about with the game. It's about 5, maybe 6 hours in length. Perfect amount of time to just get in, get out, do what you want. Um, The characters are
Here's the
really
four. Use Unreal Engine 3.
gotcha. It was like an early example of it, and they they do some interesting things with co-op, although I think they could explore that more. I think they probably do that in the later games better.
Mm-hmm.
But they still had a couple cool tricks with co-op that made it interesting. Some ideas were a little frustrating. We got stuck at the carts, but other than that, it was cool. Those parts were kind of frustrating because Teddy is actually much better at this game than I am, and the parts where we had to split up, he was limited because I would keep dying, and it would require us to restart, and there's nothing he could do about it. Whereas like when we were actually together, he could pick me back up. So that part was probably more frustrating for him and embarrassing for me. But we did make it through regardless, and I think we had a really good time.
Oh yeah, I mean it's classic, like you said, cinematic. So many like cool moments. I'm not necessarily like paying much attention to the cutscenes or anything,
I
but
skipped
like
most of
even
them.
just walking into certain areas, like a door will start to be getting dropped down. Boomers will start walking around the corner. Even that cart sequence, as stupid as it was, when that boomer's coming around the corner and you pop your head out and he just shoots you. It's amazing. Um, so yeah, I mean it's just a fun time. They keep it moving, they keep it fresh. The final sequence, that train sequence, classic. A lot of classic moments, classic throwbacks in there, and it's held up surprisingly well. The co-op experience is different because I mean it's on the one hand, I would prefer playing this co-op than by myself. Although I was ready to play it by myself too. Playing co-op, the parts where you're together are easier because you can revive each other, but they're harder in the parts where you split up because you both have to accomplish that same thing successfully. So it can stagnate progression in a weird way. But really cool ideas. Even the tagging, you can tag people with grenades. That's amazing. Oh, I did run into choppy issues with the Xbox Live. I never have that. Spencer was host and I was guest host, and we had to do it through Xbox 360 gamer tags and not Xbox Live gamer tags. So that was kind of weird. Um, but when every time I threw a grenade to try and close the locust hole, I would start glitching backwards. It was just the grenades. I couldn't tell. Everything else was fine. So I don't know. Play the ultimate edition, I guess. I don't know.
You guys picked a really good game. Really good. Curious. You're bringing back a lot of memories from playing Gears, and that was actually one I thought of for like modern day dude games as well. So I'm glad that you guys covered that. I'm remembering the active reload, really cool mechanic. But Spencer, what exactly do you mean happens when you press Y and your character looks at something? Like, does it kind of go into a first person view of the
Yeah,
scene in front of you?
yeah.
Oh wow.
No, it doesn't. It's not first person point of view.
Well,
It just
it's the
frames the
camera.
camera towards the action.
To
Oh,
me, that felt like it was like your guy was looking at it.
an
But maybe it
example of
wasn't.
this is like when you're going through an area. I think I remember something. An enemy kind of appears on his own sniper ridge, and you get the prompt where you can kind of zoom in to look at him there, and you see him setting
Mm-hmm.
up. Kind of alerts the player. It's also like in a way a hint system.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, I remember
The
that
hint
now.
system, it was kind of like that, but it could have been way better because there were a couple times we had no idea what to do, and the default is it just looks at your partner. So it's like,
Mm.
but there were a
Was
couple moments where it was useful for that.
was there any verses or co-op not in the campaign that you two played, or does that not happen till two? Two makes it really good, I think. Two
I
introduces
did
horde
back
mode.
in the day, back when it was like fresh on Xbox Live. That's
Yeah,
what you mean. But I didn't play any for this.
yeah, we didn't do any
Game.
horde mode, and we didn't because there wasn't for one, and then we didn't do
Yeah,
any PvP type stuff.
right.
Purely
Yeah.
the campaign for us.
And that was one of the ways that the game really boomed. At least if it didn't for one, it boomed during two because people took the PvP and the competitive stuff so seriously. It was like the harder
Mhm.
Halo. If you're going to play an Xbox game, there was Halo with MLG, or I think Gears even had MLG hosting it at some point, but Gears was like for the, like you said, it actually created the name cover shooter. We got looter shooters, we got cover shooters, thanks to Gears, pretty sure. Nice one. Alex? Jerry?
Yeah, this game's cute, but it should have been on the Atari Jaguar.
Yeah, it's no
Yeah.
It's no evolution.
No, just kidding. Hey, I'm the only one with dudes in the name of my game. So I'm saying. I loved Gears of War, the 360 games at least. I played the shit out of them. Looking back though, this first one to me, I like a couple years ago, I replayed them all on Xbox One, and it feels lacking compared to its sequels because they just do everything like bigger and better. And I know Teddy's only played the first one, right? But Spencer, you've played some other ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think Teddy's played more
do you
than
feel like
the
the first
one.
game is?
No,
I
well,
thought.
the only experience I have with the second one is playing Horde mode multiplayer.
Okay.
I never played the
okay.
campaigns.
So yeah, so I'm talking strictly the campaigns.
Okay.
Like I feel like the campaigns were done better in the sequels. So playing this first one for me at least, like going back to it feels a little, I don't know, like a little plain at points.
Maybe, but I think the newer, like I played 5 and it was good. I mean, but to me, it's all the same thing. Like you can add all the flash and the cool shit and whatever.
Yeah, well, I just think like the set pieces are bigger in the other ones. You know, like the second one you have like the giant worm you're cutting through. The third one has like the third one has like the glowy zombie people and stuff. So it's like the first one.
Teddy, you can come back. When he's done.
Yeah, he can come back. I'm talking about the first one now.
You can come back. What
you don't thumbs up, somebody?
You don't want to be spoiled about.
Yeah, that wasn't really a spoiler, but that's okay.
Anyway,
that's not really a spoiler.
Anyway, I'm just talking. I'm just talking about the first game now. Okay. But the first game still has some cool set pieces, like the area where you're like going through the night and the bird things are like getting you, or you have to like drive around the car, or like there's still some creative areas in the first game, but I just feel like the other games do it better, so it's kind of hard to go back to the first one for me.
Alex, you know how in Halo, one of the big steps, the big leaps from 1 to 2 was dual wielding, for example, and then 2 to 3 was just kind of like, well, here's everything you like, plus old maps, plus it's more polished than ever. Like, what kind of changes between 1, 2, and 3, aside from some of the cinematic and some of the storytelling? I can't remember gameplay differences. And then Spencer, maybe you can chime in for 5.
There's not that many, honestly. Up through 5, there's not that many changes. I mean, they introduced like silly new guns. Like the third one has that gun that has like where you like stab somebody with it. You like run and impale them on it. You seriously see that gun? It's like a really dumb gun. Because like, why would you want that over the Lancer? You wouldn't. But like it's there if you want it. But like, really, the improvements other than the set pieces in the sequels are like the second one has horde mode. The third one has the mode where you set the like the defenses and stuff, which was pretty neat.
Oh yeah.
4 is just more of that, and then 5 adds like the open world elements.
So, okay, so you've played the whole series. Gotcha.
Yes, I have. Yeah, and then there's Judgment, which woo! I don't want to talk about that game right now.
And hey, Gears Tactics coming up at some point. I'm actually looking forward to that.
Oh, dude, that's out. That's a thing.
Okay,
it's been out for years.
It's Hey, do you like XCOM?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I like XCOM.
It's XCOM, but with Gears.
Sexcom.
Sexcom.
I just want to put this out there that I think it's adorable that Alex says it's hard to go back to Gears 1 when he picked a game that came out in 1993.
There's only one Evolution Dino, dudes. There's 5 Gears.
No, there's 4. There's 4 of the humans. We just established that as well.
Well, no. Yeah, but I didn't play the humans. I played Evolution Dino dudes for the Atari Jaguar.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's not that hard to go back. It's obviously the newer ones have bigger explosions and maybe some cooler environments, but it's more of like understanding where all that came from that makes it so interesting. Because it was think about just how new this was at the time. It's really cool to see like the ideas they were coming up with back then.
And something is so classic about like, Baird being such a dick and the most dislikable character, or Cole, when we first meet him, that guy's killing them all by himself. And you see him now, whoa!
Cole Train!
Got another one.
I think I think what it was for me was that I played a lot. Like I played the first game, and then I played a lot more of the sequels. So when I went back to do like a replay of all the games, back on the Xbox One, I think it was more like I was playing the first game, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and then I was like, "Oh well, shit, that's the sequel." Oh yeah, then oh that's the sequel, and I just kept like, like certain elements of characters and stuff. I'm like, "Oh yeah, this character does that." Oh, in a sequel. So
Kind of
to
related
me,
to
it
like,
felt like all the
yeah, like how
sorry, go ahead.
memorable the games are. That's what I'm struggling with
Yeah.
too.
To
Like,
me,
how
like
memorable were these games? Because
yeah, like the first game, I a lot of the environments to me always looked samey. Gray's town, Gray City.
Yeah, they're pretty grimy.
Yeah,
Spencer, you made a lot of good points when you talked about like some of the innovations for this game, and I haven't played too many third-person shooters, but I've played enough, even across like with different influences from different genres. And the Gears camera, it just feels perfect. This is probably like one of the best, shooter third-person shooters that you could play as far as like how it controls and how you even though it's third person and you're technically removed from your character, it feels so fluid when you play it. Like they nailed it from the first game with so many different elements.
Yeah, for sure. It always makes me laugh too because like the areas, like you'll walk into an area and you're just quiet or whatever, and then there'll be like 5 sandbags strategically placed in a square area, and you're like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen here.
Did this game
I
also have? Sorry, you go ahead first.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I played through all these games again with my mom. Yes, my mom plays games, and I taught her in the first game that how she knew a battle sequence was over was the fact that it always played that fucking guitar riff. So you'd finish like an area, you go like, Bring.
Yeah, I like that.
Did the game have destructible cover? Was that a thing? If you're behind like a concrete pillar, can it get chewed up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even think about until probably the end of the game. I think I was hiding behind. I think we were fighting like in his house, and I was hiding behind a chair, and they tore it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, well, fuck! I forgot that was here too. That's pretty badass."
Oh yeah, the Phoenix House. That's when like it starts getting like kind of obscure. Like the progression. There's a random door that opens, but you're not signaled to it. Also, there was like some failed jump scares that were pretty funny. How poor they were.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like
Yeah.
there's
It
like
feels-
horror elements to it, but it's not a horror game by any stretch.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like the first game was like teetering. It was like, are we a horror game or are we not? And then they quickly realized they are not.
It's completely rendered
Like-
completely ineffective because you're controlling these big beefy dudes that can't take
Well,
can't really take a hit.
that like the first fight we fight the charger dude that can only be taken down with the hammer of dawn. That's pretty intimidating. Like that section, where he's like charging through the area.
Oh, that guy.
Um,
That's a good segment. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that could have worked in like a horror context, but like nothing else in the game really does that.
No.
Nor does it need to. I don't think it is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Hey y'all, don't forget to subscribe to them button mappers.